Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Today, we will be covering Google's new DiffusionGemma model that takes a completely different approach to text generation, Anthropic walking back hidden capability downgrades in Fable 5 after developer Backlash, OpenAI reportedly considering dramatic price cuts to pressure Anthropic, and a major Gemini outage that knocked out service for roughly 12 hours. Starting with Google, the company dropped DiffusionGemma on June 10th, and it's a genuinely different beast than what we're used to seeing. Most language models you interact with generate text one token at a time, left to right. DiffusionGemma uses a diffusion approach, similar in spirit to how image generators work, where it produces whole blocks of text in parallel and then refines them. Google says it denoises 256 tokens at a time per forward pass and delivers up to 4x faster inference on GPUs compared to traditional approaches. It's a 26 billion parameter mixture of experts model released under Apache 2.0, but only about 3.8 billion parameters fire during inference. And Google says it can fit in 18 gigabytes of VRAM when quantized. That means it can actually run on a single high-end consumer or workstation GPU. NVIDIA published numbers showing it hitting around 1,000 tokens per second on a single H100, and VLLM said it's the first diffusion-based language model they support natively, which required rebuilding parts of their stack to handle bidirectional attention and block-based generation. Google is upfront about the trade-off, though, recommending Gemma 4 when you want maximum output quality. DiffusionGemma is aimed at speed-critical work like inline code editing, rapid iteration, and interactive local agents where waiting on a token stream feels sluggish. Moving to Anthropic, the company had a rough couple of days with its newest model. Fable 5 launched on June 9th, and shortly after, researchers digging through the system card noticed something concerning. Certain advanced requests, particularly ones related to frontier AI development, were being silently downgraded to Claude Opus 4.8 without telling the user. You'd think you were talking to Fable 5 and getting Fable 5 quality, but under the hood, a less capable model was answering. Fortune broke the story on June 11th, and the developer backlash was loud. By that afternoon, Anthropic reversed course. Going forward, when safeguards trigger, the fallback will be visible, and API calls will return a refusal reason so developers know exactly what happened. Anthropic's own line was blunt. "We made the wrong trade-off." The company said these safeguards trigger in fewer than 5% of sessions on average and don't affect the vast majority of coding or machine learning work, citing national security concerns around frontier chips and optimized software as the reason for the restriction. The bigger issue here is trust. If you're benchmarking models, debugging an agent, or running research, silent model swaps make your results meaningless. You can't measure what you can't see, and Anthropic clearly heard that loud and clear. On to OpenAI, where Reuters and the Wall Street Journal reported on June 10th that the company is weighing drastic price cuts on API tokens specifically to pull developers away from Anthropic. Axios followed up the next day, saying OpenAI's cuts are expected to land ahead of similar moves from Anthropic. The discussions are reportedly still in flux, but the direction is clear: a price war on the basic billing unit of AI. The reason this matters goes beyond saving developers a few bucks. Agentic workflows, the kind where a coding agent runs tests in a loop or an enterprise automation chews through documents all day, burn tokens at a rate that human chat use never did. Sam Altman himself recently acknowledged that customers went from being comfortable with their spend to seeing it become, in his words, a huge issue. Axios reported back in May that unlimited AI subscriptions may not survive the agent era because autonomous coders can generate thousands of requests continuously. Developer reactions on Reddit were predictably gleeful, with one r/codex user posting simply, "Let them fight." Others were less interested in raw API rates and more focused on whether codex subscription limits would actually loosen up. If OpenAI does pull the trigger, expect Anthropic, Google, and XAI to be forced into a response within weeks. Finally, Google Gemini had a very bad Tuesday. Starting at 6:26 a.m. Eastern on June 10th, users across Workspace, the Gemini web app, mobile apps on iOS and Android, the macOS app, and the Gemini integration inside Chrome all started hitting "something went wrong" errors, with codes like 1099 and 1076 showing up repeatedly. Down detector reports spiked in both the US and UK in the early morning hours, and Tech Radar confirmed the issue was hitting both desktop and mobile. Google said mitigations had restored service for most users by 1:30 p.m. Eastern, but ISDown's incident report clocked the total disruption at roughly 12.3 hours, with no workaround available during the window. For a chatbot, an outage is annoying. For Gemini in 2026, it's something else entirely. The assistant is wired into Workspace Docs, Sheets, and Gmail, sits in the Chrome sidebar, and powers paid AI tier features that businesses are now relying on for daily work. When it goes down, entire workflows stall. The takeaway a lot of teams are walking away with is that AI assistants have quietly become production infrastructure, and treating them that way means building in fallbacks, status monitoring, and ideally, a second model provider you can swing to when your primary goes dark.
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.